This week, President Biden signed an executive order that aims to change the way AI impacts our future, as we've seen how quickly it can change things for us.
Vice President Kamala Harris has also focused on this issue this week, discussing the issue with the United Kingdom Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. So, what is changing and what's not after the order this week? Abby Larico joins us now to verify.
Artificial intelligence has been part of our daily lives for years now, in big and small ways, and the scientific and research potential is so promising. But with this relatively new generative AI, the stuff we're seeing in language bots like ChatGPT or art-producing sites like Midjourney, that's shown us how rapidly the tech is getting smarter. So this is in many ways an attempt to not let it outsmart us.
To realize the promise of AI and avoid the risk, we need to govern this technology.
Here are the fast facts on what the executive order will and will not do, looking at the order itself and the White House summary, and chatting with an expert on the topic.
Regulation of AI is a marathon. It is a marathon. This was a couple big steps forward in that marathon.
The order will task federal agencies with creating standards and best practices for a variety of things, like labels to help identify what is and isn't AI, safety reports before programs are released to the public, and training programs to mitigate the risk of AI negatively impacting jobs.
I don't think the average job seeker understands how many algorithms are deployed in their hiring decisions.
It also will require more communication between top AI developers and the government in both future and existing uses of AI. It does not halt AI development, as even some top tech voices have advocated for.
Absolutely does not press pause. It actually asks government agencies to consider adopting generative AI technologies, and it discourages banning generative AI technologies in the government. This is a fairly pro-innovation executive order, for better or worse.
And it also does not amount to the same amount of regulation we see in other industries, like consumer products or finance.
I don't think the average consumer understands how often they're interacting with machine learning systems.
So much more to understand about this. That's why we're putting more of that conversation with Professor Hall online. He had such an interesting perspective on this. You can also read up more on the government's approach to the issue on AI.gov. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.